Oh, boy, Lord.
I'm trying to get the volume off, and I had to have a volume to say something.
I got
6:31 call to order.
Allegiance to the flag.
Honor and Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to Texas, one, Wow. Eric, you mind?
Yeah, Lord, I just thank you for this time. Thank you for bringing us here together. I just pray that you just give us open ears and open minds to make the right decision for citizens of Lakeside City and our fellow neighbors. And I just pray that you continue to be with us as we go throughout the rest of this week. And be with those that are sick, Lord. I pray that you heal them and that you keep your hand of blessing upon them. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I will do roll call now. Mayor Corey Glassman.
Here.
Charlie Scarborough. Brad Snowdy.
Here.
Woody Tabor.
Here.
William Rutledge.
Here.
Kim Williams. Here. Eric Stevens, city administrator.
Here.
And Judy Vasquez,
Here.
city attorney. And I am Allison Sanders, city secretary.
All right, we'll move to number 4 on the agenda. Citizen comments.
We don't have any.
Move to number 5, items of community interest.
I'll let you go ahead first, man. I'm sorry. I wasn't done.
All right, let me check to make sure that, we didn't meet in December, did we?
Nope.
Okay. December was 13 EMS, 1 NVA, 1 structure, 2 wildland. For 2020, we got 89 EMS, 21 structure, 12 wildland fires, 37 NVA, search rescue, a total of 157 calls. And we're on route to do the same thing this year, trust me. We've got our grants in for a year, and now we're buying that gear. It's coming in every day. We're getting new stuff. Some people need to get. Our new wildland shirts are in, helmets, gloves. Then next month we'll get guys fitted for dual purpose gear. And we've got one young man that's interested. He's already made 1 business meeting, so we can keep him reeled in and put him on the roster. That's all I have so far.
City manager, I think most of it we'll cover as we go through the agenda items, but the only 2 things that I have, one is septic, informative classes. We're looking at one of those at the end of February and do one every month. Just see how the response goes. Something we do up here. Be about an hour long. It's just more or less open to the citizens of Lakeside, and we'll just go cover the basics of the septic system. And other than that, that was the big thing I wanted to say is for our YouTube Live. YouTube made a big change and said you can no longer go live with a iPhone, iPad, any kind of mobile device unless you have 1,000 or more subscribers. We're at 21 subscribers. So we're doing a little workaround thing to go tonight. But with that also being said, our new internet service provider for this building was Cobalt Ridge. And you know, that whole antenna got cut down and everything else. So our internet speeds right now are not at the top. And so we might have some streaming trouble. If that is so, we are recording this, and later tomorrow we will put the recording up. So there might be a few hiccups or something like that, but other than that, the final product will be up, and tomorrow we have some hiccups tonight. Other than that, that's all I got.
What is a long-term goal, since we will, say, have 1,000 subscribers, what is our long-term goal to fix that solution?
We'll probably have to look at a different streaming service or different kind of setup to where we're not using a web device, you'd have to use more or less a computer with the camera plugged into it, and we can go that way. We're just trying to come up with some workarounds on that. Cave Consulting is the one that does our, website, and, he's the one that set up the YouTube Live and all that for us, and so we're trying to figure out what our best option is so we can transition into that, whether to stay with this and do a workaround on the back end for them, or go to Vimeo or something like that. Other than that, that's all I have for right now.
I think it's number 6, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion when I'm ready.
Make a motion to accept this presented.
Mr. Rutledge makes a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion from council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passes. That brings us to, I haven't talked to Judge Jackson in probably a month and a half, to my knowledge. No big updates for the countywide.
New or anything like that. Obviously, we want to discuss some stuff as we get into the second agenda item of that grand opening, but other than that, it is what it is. It's been this way for quite a few months, so.
Everything with the park seems to be going well with the back.
2, a backpack, electrostatic sprayer, and then a handheld, both of them. We've been using those over there at the bathrooms, and, we also reached out to Lakeside City Baptist Church and told them we had them, and if they were interested in using them, stuff like that, we'd let them use them, they just had to provide their own. Due to the COVID relief fund, they gotta provide their own disinfectant spray, we can't provide that to them, but we can let them use our staff.
Any other discussion? If not, moves to 7B, discussion and consideration on new building grant opening event/ceremony.
Yeah, so they gotta get finalized and in here and done, on the punch list, but we're 99.9% in here. So this is where y'all can discuss this amongst yourselves and decide what y'all wanna do in regards to the grand opening. Somebody brought up the idea of doing a virtual grand opening, and more or less make a video of it all and then post it on the website, something like that. Or you wanna have one, let X amount of people in the building at a certain time, and then when they leave, another amount, however y'all wanna do it, that's up to y'all.
I'm going to open it up for discussion.
I think it's better to let people come in, even if they're in small groups.
Well, let me ask y'all this, this was brought to, they called in on February the 9th, is that Tuesday? They're wanting to do a blood drive, and she thought, with y'all's approval, if we could do a blood drive in here where people came in here, social distance, it's gonna be 6 feet. I mean, it's the blood institute, so they got strict guidelines. They would do it to be from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock that Tuesday evening, come in here, donate blood, and at the same time, sort of the building. I didn't know if y'all wanted to try to do something like that, if y'all wanna do a totally different thing to where let them go ahead and do the blood drive on Tuesday and then do something on Saturday.
I mean, like to do like just my thoughts, maybe the blood drive on the 9th, I think it was them right now, hey, coming this Saturday, we'll do a green opening. I think it's good to do the virtual one, for people who don't feel comfortable getting in public, and then, but really with all the space that we have, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to social distance. I mean, taking, I know backpack blowers, the sterilization, you should be able to run those and let them see what we got with the money that was given to us.
I would rather do that, so that way we can be here for it. Because if you do it during the day, most everybody has jobs, and while the blood drive is a great, I love that idea. I would prefer to do it on the weekend, we could lift the bay doors up, so that way there's airflow, and you really don't have to worry about much stuff.
So let me ask you today,
guess my thoughts are, this is a community building, not the art building, so why not utilize it for the community?
So you're saying you do a grand opening on February the 15th?
And that's just because it falls out that night, but, you know,
Any Saturday for that matter. So wherever.
So y'all just give me a date, and we'll set it and go from there.
My thought is wait a little bit longer, later in February might be a little warmer as well. But you never know about the Texas weather. It doesn't really matter to me.
You do it the 20th, I'm off.
I'm checking my basketball schedule right now.
Can we come with this?
The schedule is what, we won't start for a little, that's a big deal this season. Wanna go with that?
On what day?
The 20th.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Scott, do you have a comment?
Well, on your, whether to have it here or virtual, I would probably do both. I think you need to have a video on your website of, you know, this is what we got, this is what it can do, and people can sit and watch it.
I agree with that.
And then they can come and see it.
I think there's kind of reports and stuff here, and make sure that we like it. Alright, so let's plan for the blood drive to go through on the 9th from 1 to 6. And then our grand opening to be on the 20th, times.
Gotcha. Y'all seeing, is it just one of those, all-day Saturday events, starting at 10, going till 4, just let people come up here and vent?
If there's gonna be food and things like that, an all-day thing is probably not the best. I like the,
Can we serve food?
Yeah. 11 to 2 p.m.
Make sure it's, not that you wouldn't, but I mean, doing the videos.
Okay.
Is that blood drive for sure, or are you gonna tell them that?
I'm gonna call it tomorrow.
They
She
do
wanted
that.
to do it on the 9th, and then it just worked out that we're
Right.
having a meeting tonight, I go there and everybody else.
She wants to come back on 20th, or just have it on 20th, or whatever.
Yeah, I think people sign up, she don't want to do the second one, so.
yeah, I think they do like 15 to 20 minutes, like time slots, so that way there's not too many people. But that may give the people that aren't like doing it that time.
Eric, we also send out a press release to the media.
Yep.
You can go and get that on there and send it out a week in advance also.
Archer County News.
If not, we'll go to 7C, discussion consideration on fees for rental of new Lakeside City Community Center.
So, this is what we have, what we need to come up with is, because people are already calling, wanting to know how much it costs when they can start reserving it and everything else, and so we need to come up with a fee. I'm assuming you probably want to do it just like you do with the park, where it's a residence fee and then a non-residence fee. And then pretty much, you do it all day, 4 hours, how you want to do it. You know, we rent the park out in 4-hour increments. I guess that'd be one of those things, depending upon the type of event that they're having, stuff like that. But you get a full-blown kitchen, everything, appliances, this, TV, bathrooms, you don't get the offices, and so, I really would like to see it. But in talking to some of y'all, I know one of the big things was we still wanna make some kind of money back on it, cause at some point, if it's getting rented out all the time, we're gonna have to re-wax the floor, repaint, there's some, will be wear and tear, and so we definitely need that 2 years from now, if we wanna repaint the walls.
Prices in mind.
No, I will tell you this, Highway 79 didn't need down the street, I called them, and for a Saturday rental, but you get a sound system, there's other ones that are going for like $300, but they're a little bit bigger than this.
Have to pay for staff to come up here between the two, you rented for the first floor and the second floor to make sure that it's checked out and checked back in, make sure, that's just my opinion, though, so I don't know how
Oh, yeah, people.
There was some club that was, Dalton has, sort of like, they were doing birthday parties, and then,
If you have that, you're gonna have to have plenty of security.
yeah, I decided when they rent the park on things, I'm gonna give it to Julie and let her go over it and see the,
200, 300, not doing? You thinking like, are we thinking like 600, or, I don't.
feasible to where those people that have young kids that want to have a birthday party or something like that, can do it.
That's my concern, is I would like to give it to our citizens as cheap ink.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was thinking like 200, 300, 200 for residents, 300 for out, but that's just me, I mean,
I'm not gonna pay $300 for the stuff to figure out.
We can't hear it from, we can't hear it from us. Somebody's still gonna complain, it's, I mean,
Thing, like, that they would have,
I mean, if someone's having, a quinceañera, you couldn't have one here with no alcohol.
Yeah.
And
they do it the other places that a DJ, I think you can have alcohol, but you have to have some kind of law.
like, you have to have somebody that's TABC certified, you know, something, because they're
Really?
different things.
I can look into it to see if there's something that can be done. I was actually going to state where you're wanting to make it cheap enough to kind of let someone come in and do something, but not it.
Yeah.
Where you can get it refunded if everything's perfectly fine, but if there is that hole in the wall situation, that's well.
well, I think you get into, and I don't want to get insurance policy yourself. And then if you're gonna have alcohol, you get another, I don't know, $150 a week, you know, 6-year-old.
Like this building, this room,
And I think I have a wonderful answer for you guys, and it's something that was discussed. You could have that, I call it the Lakeside City East Community Center. That's a smaller building, smaller rent, and you're using an asset and turning it into producing money.
Everything, just have a get together, if you have over there.
Well, they have a kitchen,
We have a kitchen over there? Okay.
yeah.
but everything's scaled down. You can bring a birthday cake and some sodas, and have to worry about putting stuff on the walls and blah, 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 blah. I just think that's an asset sitting over there. We have east, let's say we wanted to have a street party where all the neighbors get together. It will also give us a place that we can do that in our own neighborhood.
I'll definitely ask the other from the agenda for. Yeah, two price ones, right? You want to pay 500 for this one, but you want a more upscale. This one can obviously hold more, right? Because then
So we want to table this for discussion for next month and then try to have something set by March.
I would say we go ahead and we can talk about it tonight if you want to. But I think there's two different prices we can start with. I mean, push back another month, that's the next year. So eventually we can hold it. And we did have an answer, I think, for the grand opening that, hey, this will be available.
We said the price, let's just say $200 a night. We're not set
Or they do allow stuff to be hung on the wall, or they use 300 strips.
People, especially nonprofits, will come in and say, make sure we have some thought process into that.
Alright, so, good.
Yeah, all day or, what time does it end? We'll start with time
It's
frame.
gonna be different, I mean,
someone might want to, and that's a cutoff.
So, at midnight, if someone's gonna come up here at midnight, maybe we'll lock up and everything.
What
You
does it
can,
cost
you
you
can
guys?
per event,
Would hate for somebody to have to come up here at midnight. but
Right,
yeah.
what does that cost? What does it cost for you?
depends on what type of event is going to be here. I really believe that we're gonna have to base that on. And, I mean, no one's gonna have a birthday party the last minute. What time do dances stop? If they have dances over there, well, you're gonna, is it midnight? Like if they
11 weekends, you gotta be out here by midnight.
Wouldn't really have to come up here till the next day, and you're still holding that security deposit, so you're not affecting a worker.
And so that's good.
alright, so we're thinking 8 to 12?
So that'd be one of the things, the way we do this, you gotta bring the key back and turn in the key. And now, we would give them a one-time. Does that make sense to y'all?
I I really feel like our residents, I'm kind of leaning towards $200. 200. Because you cannot get a room even for a baby shower in Wichita Falls for less than that. Kitchen. But it's $200. So our residents, I think really, they're the ones that should benefit from that.
You need some kind of security closet for them?
Since I've been here, the higher the more the deposit, the more apt you are to come back and clean it up. When I got here, the deposit was $25 for the parking. That was literally one of those, fine, I paid $25, I'm not gonna empty the trash or anything, because it was $25. So, I think if you're gonna set it at 200 for residents.
Right.
Yep.
So $200 deposit, whether you're a rental or resident or non-resident, right?
Well, it'd be, y'all can set it at $200 for residents, it'd be $200 that, and if it's $300 non-residents, they'd do the same way, it'd be $300 for their rental fee and $300 for their deposit.
I just really worry on non-residents, that I think it's going to be deposit
For residents,
for non-residents. It just depends on the event. I mean, if it's a birthday party or Riders Guild or whatever, that, they're not gonna give us rambunctious, but
now we
if
can
it's
set,
something that has alcohol, then I think we have to have it, positive to have it alcohol.
Like an alcohol, like,
Mhm.
be 300 plus like an extra 200 for.
I think that would be smart to do.
Because you have to cut that,
so you're saying 200 for residents, 300 for non-residents?
And then like you said, and then if you're gonna have alcohol, you have an extra $200 security deposit on top of that. Wedding.
Usually at weddings, when we had a wedding that had alcohol, we had to have 2 TABC bartenders and a insurance policy.
Yeah.
I
But
think
being a
before-
city building, I'm not sure how it works.
I think we definitely need to look at, before we go through a big party, I think there's a lot more stuff that we can cover now, that we gotta look into.
I think if they're gonna have alcohol, you're gonna have to require to have security,
Yes.
a licensed peace officer.
So we could do right now just,
They have to pay for it separately, not part of this part. I mean,
So y'all say, line it up with the risk pool and see what all, city building, if there's stuff like that, okay?
so should we set it like for right now until we figure out the whole alcohol thing, just no alcohol and till further notice?
200 for residents and 300 for non.
And then right now, no alcohol until we get that.
You need to have the keepers and all of that stuff, that could run up, you may say this is a deposit, but if you lose the key, it's the.
So we're gonna have to get into different key codes getting into this building.
Or a combo box.
That's what I'm talking about, if we get into that.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a limit how many times the alarm code can be changed? Okay.
Alright, so for this building, 200 resident fee, 300 for non-resident. Should we want to use that other building, we all think of fees for that, resident, non-resident?
I would say half of what we settle this one.
So 100 resident and 200 non? Oh, yeah.
Everybody good with that? Yeah, I mean, if it goes in the ring,
$400
that,
a month, that's what across the bridge.
you get better. No alcohol over there, so we can come up with some, and I would just, maybe we can get together and look at other people's contracts they allow alcohol.
Okay.
Is there gonna be a key deposit as well?
Here? Y'all want to be,
Or should that be included?
we haven't had a problem with security.
That should be part of the security.
Yeah, if you don't have a key, then it's $300.
It's one of those things, I mean, even though you have the key to the building, and now each person, staff has their own alarm code, and you I'll make up one for each time the building.
But once they set that alarm to go out, they can't use that code again, turn it off.
If we change on Monday or whatever.
Well, they came back in later that night.
Yeah, I would literally and set it for like 8 to 12 a.m. on Saturday, and that's the only time that I want to do it, and then after that.
Okay, you can do it, huh?
Obviously, you see that, you can't get out that door. You rip this building out. And that's how it was designed, so.
Okay, any other discussion, any other discussion, we need a motion on that?
Is that 200, 300 included if they want that?
No.
No,
No,
no.
it's separate.
If they want that, that's a whole other thing, they gotta.
Right.
And that may be something that y'all might want to discuss on y'all's, end, if y'all even want to do that.
Is it gonna be an option or no option?
Sir,
Is it an option or no option?
what's the option? It's all or none.
Right. I understand.
Eric, you need a motion on that?
Yeah, I do need a motion.
All right, I entertain a motion for one and three.
Deposit side.
Perfect thing to be able to take action or anything like that. But I mean, you already got to discuss, and do some discussion, agenda item next one.
All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion passes. Brings us to 7D, discussion and consideration on order of election for May 1st, 2021.
Yeah, so May 1st, 2021, is the Saturday, first Saturday in May that the 2021 election. Roughly $3,000 to $3,500. I got the judge on standby if we decide, he said, whenever we're ready, let him know, he'll come out. We're just gonna have that stuff in Archie County. This will get posted in there, in Archie County News, I'm sorry. And so, any questions about that? Of course, I can't type, I put 2210, whatever that is. I apologize, it's 2021. It's at the municipal building, and the next day it's at the church. From here on out, all elections will be in this building. Early voting and day of voting.
I'll entertain a motion for one and three.
On May 1st.
Is there a second? Here for second. Discussion between council. All those in favor say aye. And process bids of the street repairs.
Yes, so y'all have asked about this and wanted to get the ball rolling. I know this was a hot topic for Brad. Obviously, the streets in Lakeside City are in some desperate need of some repair and some work. With the certificate of obligation, we set aside $500,000 for road repairs. Back in September, I think, of last year, we took out $49,999 for those one repairs. So we just brought that down to, what with the interest and everything, I think once we make the final payment on the building, which is still, our final payment on the building is $60,000 roughly, but he's not gonna build it till the dishwasher comes in. The dishwasher's on back order due to being COVID. But once towards road repairs out of the general fund. So I went back and I know in 2016, this was sort of the start of where they started it. This was the list they came up with. And in 2016, you can see that that was $146,219, whatever, somewhat dollar job. And their main thing was Donna Street right there, and then Edgewater was their main things. This was back in 2016. Obviously, things have changed since then. What I need from y'all is I need just a list from y'all of things that y'all look at and say, hey, this street is bad. So I know y'all looking at that. I know Edgewater is still my main concern back over there on the east side. And this is just my opinion on Donna. There's not that many people that drive down to Donna anymore because the city hall's not over there anymore. So it's not a heavily trafficked street. And obviously they were looking at doing the parking lot there, the old city hall. That's no longer needed. And then as far as the west goes, that's sort of where they started at, that main entrance coming in right there, after the first four houses on the left, they were gonna do Shoreline. I know that one, what I call the East Royal, it needs major attention, and then that part going in, down Royal right there, the back part of Shoreline back there, and then I'm sure there's some other ones. What we need to do is make a list, give it to Dean, saying these are our lists, and then we'll run that ad in the paper and set a budget. I'm assuming y'all want to use all $471,000 for the streets. I don't know why you wouldn't want to use that. And then start receiving bids back and, go from there. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think 5 and 6 have already been completed on this one, correct?
Which one's 5 and 6?
I think it's CD North.
Yes, yeah, those have already been completed. Right there.
10 is bad on the west side for sure.
Yeah.
What I want to make sure is that we're not, especially on here on this out, Jamie's house, I don't know what the house numbers, I want to make sure that, we go too much high on asphalt, that's a flood area right there, I don't want to push it more towards their house, so I don't know the proper way to do that or how to fix that, but what I don't want to do is raise it 2 inches and it goes up 2 inches towards their house.
That's the hardest part. Our street repair work for several years was come in and chip seal, overlay, and go on. And now we are literally at the point to where the street is higher than some of the homes, which is obviously a flood problem. But to get them done right, it's more or less coming in, knowing them up, going back down and doing a bunch of base work. So that's the thing y'all gotta understand, is if we come in and do the extensive repair, get them all built up, stuff like that, base work, you're not gonna get as far as just a simple chip seal and overlay.
So the prices are flood from,
That's a good question. I wish there was a short answer, but with that flood hazard mitigation thing that we all been going through and discussing, what that will do come February when it is approved by Archer County Commissioners, it will allow people mitigation money for that, but the disaster has to happen first before we can turn around and get money. If that makes sense. So your house has to.
I guess my question is an ignorant question, but, are you looking for us, we drive the streets, but are you looking for us to make a map like this, or do we need to get Dean in here and be like, hey, what really needs to happen?
Yeah, so Dean and I have driven throughout the thing, and it's one of those things, we got our top 10 priority list. He was asking us just for y'all to come up with a top 10 priority list too. So hey, number 1, I think this should be the street, number 2, and then that way we can compile and say everybody looks at it this way, everybody doesn't. And then we'll come up with what he engineer estimated costs, and then we'll put it out for bid, run it in the paper, take still bids back, and then go from there.
I can say what it looks like, what it drives us, but from structural, I'd rather have his opinion, knowing, hey, this is what needs to be done.
Right, yeah, and he's done most of that, and we've jumped around the past 2 weeks, and he's coming up with a list for us right now. He just wanted y'all to have some input and say, hey, here's the other streets too. So it's not just him deciding.
I'd love to look at his list, you can send that out, but,
Yeah, y'all want me to send y'all his list? Yeah.
There's naturally Shoreline and Royal and all, those need to be done right.
Yeah.
Because those are the most heavily trafficked. But what I don't want to see from Dean, if Dean's gonna do it, I want him to come back with something kind of matter.
Yeah, my goal would be that we get this list compiled and we put it out for bid next meeting.
So if you'll let Dean know that we want that, if you can send us a list before that so we can drive it, I appreciate that, but, we need to make a move on it next week.
Yep.
Going back to the east side, and I think I'm in agreement with the Don Street, especially with construction going there, the worst thing to do is go in there, fix that, and have a big construction truck on it, and it goes. So we can look at it, at another year when construction's really down over there.
Okay.
And driving on the east side, I think Edwards, when he come in, You'll start to see a lot of separation in the center of that road. So maybe Edwards up to Fry, and then the couple places in Fry is pretty rough. Those are the most traveled roads on the east side.
Yeah, you're right, exactly right.
So, I think if we're all in agreement, we'll just wait, as soon as Dean, hopefully, not, like, sooner than later, we can get those maps so we can go and drop them. I'd like to see that really within a week and a half, so that gives us plenty of time to go over and walk and stuff like that, so that we can make an educated decision next week.
Okay. I'll get those up to you by the end of this week then.
Is that good with everybody else? All right, that brings us to seven.
Yeah, I sent y'all out, this was the city of Euless, or whatever, I can't remember which one it was now. That's their solar panel ordinance, I wanted y'all to review it, look over it, and see if that fitted up ours, if you want to adopt it. We would obviously have to draft it up. I just wanted to get this rough draft, get y'all's opinion, we'll obviously have to draft it up, meetings, what to do.
With the grandfather, I guess, the ones that are already in place, right?
Yeah, there's actually 4 homes in Lakeside City that had 2 in the west, 2 in the east that already have solar panels. 3 on the east, 2 on the west that have them. So those would obviously be grandfathered in.
Just from reading this, what I read on 32.2B, the height for the ground mounted systems is installed greater than 6 feet. I don't know, man. I guess the bottom of it's gotta be 6 feet. I don't know why. I mean, can we not let it go lower? Is there a reason why you want the bottom to be 6 feet? I just think you got a 6-foot fence, that's what the bottom is gonna be. Which brings me to my next point, the length of it, is no greater than 20 feet. Is there a height? Is there gonna be a height maximum that it can be at? We're talking how low it's gotta be from the ground up, it's gotta be 6 feet, right?
Yeah, so the height is saying, Sylvia saw greater than, the height shows 6 feet is the tallest it can be.
No solar barrier system shall be installed greater than 6 feet, so no, it can't be taller than 6 feet.
Yeah.
20 feet.
That's on ground mounted, just standalone ones there.
Like what?
Now, I mean, most of these are taller than, there's some that are 10, 12 feet tall. I think the reason behind the 6 foot is you sit behind the fence.
I was thinking, I wasn't in this, that had
But-
to start there, but.
You can go 8 foot, you can put 8 foot and stuff like this. That's what you,
No. That's a question I had, is there a permit fee for this?
yeah, right now we're charging $50 for the electrical permit, just like we charge for electrical permit, we charge $50. If y'all want to set it different, $100 or whatever. My thoughts were, would be, this is the basis, if they have any, they want to build one and they want to make it 12 feet tall, then they would have to come before the council and say, hey, we can't fit into the zoning rules.
To go higher than that, because not only do you have electrical, but then you gotta go out there and check the property lines. I think there's a lot of work on your end, according to this, especially on this 32.4 section. There's a lot of work on your end, you have to make sure all these are done.
Yeah,
I think $50 and you can cover it.
and right now that S&H has done the 3 or the 2, 3 over on the east side, they are very good about bringing you all this stuff. I mean, the detail of their drawings, load, all this stuff. I mean, now that's just one company, and so they make it pretty easy now. And that was the whole point of putting those things in, is because I didn't want some fly-by-night company to come in here and just say, oh yeah, you're gonna put it right here, and it's what it's gonna do.
I think even if they give you that stuff, it still takes your time to go through that to make sure it's each one of these A through T is all checked off.
Correct. So you're saying you want to up the fee?
I would. I think give
Solar
them
panel?
$50 electrical fee, and maybe even a $50 solar panel fee, that you have to go through this only electrical, but it's almost like 2 different components, like building a house, you're gonna have different fees, right? So.
Right.
Can it not be like made into a checkoff list of all this stuff right here, and that way it's less legwork, so that way if they're interested in putting it in, they have to come up here and get the form, kind of like the septic thing, where you've got to check off these things and provide the documentation to show.
Well, that's, so when they come in the building to pull the $50 permit fee, they gotta come in with the layout, the plot of land, where they're gonna put it, how they're gonna trench it over there. They do all that right now. That's automatic.
Even though they check it off, I think Eric's gonna have to go back
Yeah.
and re-inspect it, that's the problem, it's like, that's a lot of your time to go through to make sure that accuracy is done. Even though they give you documentation, you still need to go there and check it, right?
Right.
That-
Yeah, when they first set the ground things, and then the trench the pipe, we go out each step. They call for inspection, we go out for each step, so. So you're saying up to $100 fee. Are y'all good with this as the basis of it, and then anything after this has to be brought before the zoning or city council?
And then like it's talking in there, like if it needs covers or shades because of the glare, that kind of thing, it's gonna have to do those too.
Okay,
That's the zoning thing, I guess.
so really no changes in what y'all are saying?
I mean, I'm not a solar panel expert, so that's the hard part of it,
It
but,
looks like they covered.
yeah, I mean, it looks legit.
Their
Is there
research on it.
clearance in between houses?
Oh, no, it's on the property, on my property line,
Getting a lot of
Yeah, you can see the property line is different.
and what's being done,
So right now it's 3 feet off the property line,
15, that's right.
and what this one's saying is 15 feet off the backyard, 10 off the side, very.
Whichever one anyways, cause like, the one over there, someone put a fence in front of it, and that's half or something going on.
Yeah.
What about roof mounted?
Yeah, it's roof mounted on there as well, just, 6 inches between the top of the solar panel and the roof. I mean, this looks like a great rough draft, to me. I think it's organic. I'm not biggest thing with the fee, I think it's gonna be very time consuming for you.
Well, I would fee in there, and then we will draft this up as an ordinance, and then have a hearing on it.
I'm entertaining a motion to move my group.
Make a motion, we start the draft of the solar panel ordinance.
I don't do.
Are you okay?
No, I'm good. Yeah, so in October, I know we had this, in October, November, I'd like to see the possibility of selling the 2 lots. It's those 2 lots right there, there's one. Yeah, whatever, it's not that. The thing is to be able to, it's out of the 20-year thing for the park. That's done, and we cleared that with the Texas Park and Wildlife, so that's cleared. These are just 2 lots that are sort of become eyesores, just overgrown trees, stuff like that. I've had a few people over the years call about that one at the end of Royal, and want to build a home there. And then 2, the one right there at CB, I've had a resident inquire about it, wants to purchase it, more or less have something for, make it appealing over there. They don't want a structure over there. They really would like to see maybe a community garden, or something like that. They need to be visible, and stuff like that. So this is y'all's time to discuss. Y'all want to, put these up for sale. Now, obviously, my thoughts are on the one on CB. We can put in there when we listed the deed restrictions and no structures or anything like that. Water or sewer will be ran through this thing. Keep it, whoever buys it has to keep it a part of a, whatever you want to call it, a land, a nature's habitat, something like that. And all that stuff. So, we need y'all's approval to proceed forward with.
If we were to sell this, it goes to bid process.
Yeah, so the way the process would work, we would get appraisal value of it, and we would put in the deed of the land, what our, just one on Royal. You get that appraisal value back, and we run it, twice, in the city, Archer County meters. And we would take sealed bids to where they come in, and they give us a bid, so this is what we get for the land, and then at whatever, so the council meeting, we would open it up and award the bid.
I don't like that part of it. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get, I mean, it's just, I mean, if something comes in and goes to the green for it, like, it's better off for us to keep it.
Well, no, I mean, you said anything less than, not that $400. I think it's what those
Reserve the right to reject all bids.
You have to, I mean, we're gonna pay the appraisal cost one way or another, but my curiosity is to see what they appraise at first before you go to selling it. I mean, we're
You'd be
confused.
surprised what these things go for. Appraise that.
I mean, for me personally, this is my opinion, I'd be wanting to get the appraisal. I'd rather hold on to it.
No, I
You
think,
just don't know, I mean, like you said, it's undeveloped land, it's eyesores right now. That's
yeah,
not helping
well,
property
they,
value.
when they appraise it, they don't look at it just because it's nice, or they look at the potential of it. Just looking at it roughly, one of the guys said 27.5, I think is what they came up with.
I mean, if we're gonna get it appraised one way or another, I'd say get it appraised and come back to another discussion. The problem is we just bought land on the other side and we're selling these two.
We bought land on the other side.
Did we buy land on the south side of it? And that, I mean, if I'm looking at it from the community standpoint, if you bought that side, now you're selling two over here.
Yeah, I think the thing, my thoughts behind it on selling it, that's an eyesore, it's another thing for us to have to keep up with. We haven't done anything with it, it's always been that way. We've got somebody in the community wanting to purchase it, turn it into something aesthetically appealing, clean it up a little bit, all that benefit to the city, and the same thing with the other one.
But what if
The
they
gentleman that was interested in the one in Royal already has another opportunity to do something else here in Lakeside City, and so, I don't know, but it's just one of those things. You could always have that option available with somebody. I mean, it's crazy in the past 4 months, I mean, people were driving around trying to find vacant lots in Lakeside City and whatnot.
Alright, but let's say what if they don't pay up, then it's still not sorted. What if they don't pay up, what if they buy land and sell it, and then we're in the same problem, right, I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mike, do you wanna?
Right now, it's a thick underbrush, and I don't know what all lives in there.
Everything?
You may not wanna
Usually
know.
go, you know, playing hide and seek in it, whatever, but, we like to clean it up and get it where it's, be able to make it where it looks nicer, for us and for whoever, you know, in doing the park, but.
No, and I agree, I mean, I think
That's my deal, it's like 20, 50 years from now, we're gonna have trailers stacked in there. I mean,
Yeah, that's,
You would put,
that has to be cleared off and maintained and all that kind of stuff. That could be a restriction we put in the too, because if you didn't win the bid, then you get somebody in who's just using it for property taxes or, you know, as a write-off, and now it's just sitting there doing what we do.
by them, with the previous city administrator and all that, we've always been on 20 years, we can't do anything with the land until after the 20 years is up. We'd like to purchase this land, but we're gonna go and do it, we gotta go through X, Y, and Z to be able to do it, and give everybody a fair shot at it.
you better than when and you retain ownership.
Don't have anything to hold this thing, the topsoil, all that.
But my thing is what happens if that ain't approved? What happens if?
Restrictions you want in there, you can say that deed restrictions, whatever deed restrictions you want.
I don't know when last time you looked at it, it's gonna take a lot of work.
Oh, sure. And that's my fear, is that someone gets it and they're like, we'll just set up, that's gonna be, you know, they go out and get bids and like 50 grand for them, and they're like, we'll just let it sit there.
Right.
You know, and then when we could have done something with it and made it to the community garden, so that's the,
I agree with the mayor, but I think if we write the deed restrictions right, nobody's gonna want it other than, you know, because they want it for specific reasons.
and don't get me wrong, I just wanna bring up, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, just to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, you gotta look at all angles, that's for sure.
And mean, I love the idea and I love the possibility of it. And I have no doubt that, I mean, I would just, I mean, I'd be interested in going and moving forward for the process of getting the appraisal on it and see what we got. See where we're at with it. I mean, maybe we sell one with the other just right now.
So fire department cleaning up. Don't get mad at me.
Get insurance, right?
Well, one of the reasons the park, you know, the whole park used to look like that. And so that was one of the main reasons of getting a park, was it burned every year. And it was just a mess. But-
Yeah.
So when it gets that big, and you've got houses right next to it, and no one's taking care of it, it's a problem.
Well, who owns in between the two lots? That's still city property? What we gonna do with that?
It's pretty cleared out there.
yeah, I mean,
All of the
it's-
stuff in here.
These are the two easiest ones that can be built upon, have stuff ran to them and everything else, and the two that have been inquired about now. We can obviously, if you want, we can sell more lots. The only thing about some of those other ones back there is you're gonna have to start putting streets or
Yeah.
something else.
Oh, yeah, I agree with
That's
that.
what- These two are literally something you could sell, take the money, and this is just hypothetically, please don't hold me to this or anything like this, or don't run off and say, Eric said, it's gonna happen, but you could, obviously, one of our big desires is to have a park over on the east side. You could take some of this and then you can take
Do you use
those
that
funds.
money as a match money for that, ramp on the west side?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's just my thing, and you brought it up, the boat ramp on the west side is, I think there needs to be a park on the east side first before you do. the boat
Well,
ramp on the
I
west.
agree,
think
but-
the lake needs to be dredged before you even.
But there's a lot of things to be done with that.
Park or pavilion, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
We can discuss that, but I mean, that's, again, I'd like to see the appraisal value on it before that's me personally, but.
So y'all want me to proceed forward then? I just need a motion to proceed forward. and get
I
the
just wonder
presentation.
about, I'm not exceeding when I'm on board with that, I do want that one there on the Knoll Road there. That'd be good to have a house there, but are we gonna have to asphalt that, or are we just gonna put a little more gravel on
I'm
it?
gonna put that in your deed restrictions to where,
Cause I would wanna sell just one, and
So here's what
we have to pour a whole cul-de-sac.
here's what Brad said, so that land as is without a street paved up to it is only worth X amount of dollars. If you have a paved street to it, it's worth more money. But you can sell it until the as is and get lesser money for it and say, that's one of the deed restrictions, you gotta pave it or you're gonna have a gravel road. That's, we can put that in there.
And was there, what was the difference?
The way it is, there should be a, see where that, I can't draw on this one, but on that corner back there, the way the whole plot was, there should be a street that comes off the shoreline right there between those two houses.
Oh, okay.
Right there, comes down and turns in right there.
So if we're gonna ever sell a couple more around the same deal, is that yes or no?
If you wanted to sell a couple more around the same deal, you then probably would wanna go in and put in the street, get in over there. Stuff like
And
that.
my guess is he's talking about, like these lots right here, like one there,
Yeah,
to where this right here could go to the.
I don't think you wanna sell any more closer towards the sidewalk, I think you wanna stay further away from the sidewalk. The walking trail, whatever you call it.
I realize the 20-year thing is out, but, and I'm old, so I know about the 20-year thing. There was always, one of the biggest things when the park was built, or even before we got it built, is there would be a barrier of trees between any house and the park.
Right.
And so I'm afraid if you start, like if you do build one over there close to that walking path, you're not gonna have a barrier. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's, no, a lot of people probably still don't live out here that wanted that, but I think if my house backed up to the park, I think I would want a barrier. I wouldn't want the walking path 10 feet from my fence.
Yeah, I agree. You're
So-
exactly right.
I know we don't have to go by the 20-year rule anymore, but I think there's some things that we need to go by
Yep.
just to protect the people that have homes that back up to the park.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't wanna have to just do the corner for one lot, because you think the money's gonna wash out, but if we do put this gravel there, you know, we might make money on that.
Our millings, do we mill and asphalt, do the millings from the street?
Well, I'd like to
Yeah, the rest of the price, like you. And then maybe we'll think about what we're gonna mark money for too, when we come back, so.
So proceed forward with the appraisal of those two.
Is there a motion for that? Yeah, don't need a motion for that.
I make a motion to get price on these two lots.
Tony makes a motion, Tony seconds it, discussion between council. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes. Brings us to 7H, discussion and consideration on approval of payment to contractor Lone Star Waste Services for the septic inspections completed to date being December 31st, 2020, in the amount of $13,334.10.
So this is the first of many payments that come to them. This is the work completed to date. I sent y'all all the invoices. This is where we need to decide how we're gonna pay for it, what funds it's gonna come out of, and then the continued method of it. Obviously, there was a $703,000 sewer monies out of the certificate of obligation. We can use that, and then go from there. Then we would easily be able to cover all the septic inspection. And the way it's going right now, Lone Star Waste shows up at your house, does all the work, pumps all 3 tanks, 2 tanks, however many tanks you got, they pump all the tanks. Anything that belongs to the city, i.e. green tank, alarm box, or anything like that, that's the city's responsibility for taking care of. Anything on septic tank issues, that's still homeowners. We've had a few cracked lids, and that's about the extent of any of the stuff that homeowners have been responsible for. To pay for everything else, risers, green tank risers and stuff like that, the city's covered, or has covered, so. And I think Scott made a good point, when we decide to do this, or whatever we decide to do, we need to do a publication, send a letter out saying this is what we're gonna do for every house on here, so just to squash all the confusion and everything else. We're gonna absorb the whole cost of the certificate of obligation, sewer thing, say, the Lone Star's coming to every house, gonna do this, city's paying for it, if we find any damages that are extent to your responsibility, we're willing to address it with them, the homeowner, and then if the homeowner has some issues or something like that, they can, my thoughts are they bring it to the sewer task force hears them out, and the sewer task force gives all recommendations. That's just my thoughts.
Any questions? Time and motion.
I'll make a motion.
How did the certificate, just be specific on that?
Yeah, to add this certificate of obligation.
Thank you for clarification. Is there a second? William seconds it. Any discussion between council? All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion passes. Brings us to 7I, discussion and consideration on further potential allowance of installation of wireless internet service provider tower at new city hall property.
Yeah, so we talked about this in the November meeting, and he was on a good go. Hopefully, he was gonna be at tonight's meeting, and we would approve in February, if so desired. Just really reiterated his need to have a tower out here, so all the systems that are out here would be pointed to this one, we wouldn't have to worry about it. I've asked him several questions. They're more willing to ask me. He's given a rough draft of the lease agreement. I know y'all asked who all would be on the tower. He's only gonna be him. He says, him being the contract and anything else, nobody else would be on the tower unless we still choose to put something of ours up there. Fire antenna, he wanted to do that, but no other competitors would go on there. He wants a 15-year lease, and then after 15 years, we go back and negotiate after 15 years. Obviously, you see, he would start off at, by provided us $150 a month, and each year we go up 2.5% total type thing, and so we would still increase each year fees on that. And then we also, he would provide city internet to all the buildings free of charge for us here.
So after,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
so after reading this contract, I mean, if no one else is gonna go on there, I'd like that to be noted in the contract.
Yes.
Not in there. Number two, have we talked to the neighbors in the surrounding area to see what their thoughts are?
Talked to Rick Moser next door. He was in total agreement with it. Measured how the fall was gonna be. The littles, there wasn't, had to be worried about. Rick Moser's 100% behind it. He said whatever he can do to help out, he's game for it.
How close is it gonna be to the electrical transmission line?
It has to be the 160 feet away from it. The deal, we had to be so many feet away from there. Originally, when we looked at it, we looked at doing it on this far end of the building. It's still a possibility. The new possibility we're looking at is this open field out here, doing something out here in this open field. The only reason, the one con to doing it out in this open field is there's not one of the trench to it. You know, that's one thing. Two, if we did it over here, and we were gonna run stuff into the fire department and ours, it'd be a real easy run because there's no concrete or anything like that. Over here, we'd have to run boards or wherever it is. But we have the final say so on where we want the antenna to stand, and so.
Text dot, anything to do with that?
We've called them and said, and it's one of those things, text dot is, I mean, there's 390.
What are we getting? I mean, well, we're renting $150. We're getting what, 500 plus over on the water tower? Like, how do we charge him 150 and we're charging Pinnacle and the other company?
No, that's a good question.
So he's building his own tower, taking up our land. I think it's worth more than 150.
Yeah, Pinnacle doesn't provide us any wireless internet right now.
How much do they pay us?
They pay us $500 a month to be on top of our water tower, but that is something that we own. And, you know, that for him to, I asked him if he'd be interested in going and paying $500 a month on the water tower. His thing was that water tower is 110 feet. He wanted something a little bit taller, so he's gonna go to, you know, rotted communities and stuff like that. Obviously, y'all know the frustration right now when we try to get internet in here. Everybody says Spectrum is hit or miss, and Pinnacle's not everything they thought it would be. So this is one of those things.
How much do we pay monthly for the city? We pay for?
We're paying Spectrum $260, right, $260 for the three. We got the old one.
So we have it at, we got it at the.
So you would lose $260 a month feeding Spectrum.
You basically get $400 a month out of it. Did we need it ever out there at the lagoon? Would you provide it out there too?
Yeah, if you put this antenna up, that would be considered that, yeah. I think we're paying, I'm paying, because we have a camera out there to be able to watch the irrigation and all that. We're paying $60 a month to pay for that one right now.
So you're at $460.
So let's just play devil's advocate here again. So he comes in with the faster broadband, so Pinnacle goes out of business, they're talking about we just lost $450. We just brought
So,
ourselves
but you turn around and look what we're getting for free services, we're getting the rest of it, the 200, Spectrum we're not paying, the 60 we're not paying out there. Basically, we're getting $400.
So you got two businesses on top of that water tower. You don't just have one, you have two.
Yeah.
So that's $1,000 we're getting a month, correct?
You got two on top of there. One of them we reached out to, Turner Power. They still send a $300 check every month. So
So
my meter's dead, everything else, we just let it go. But the $500, Pinnacle would then come back in and start lowering their rates to compete with them, or, you know, there'd be some competition between the two then.
Well, and didn't Pinnacle just,
I think.
how far, if he puts that pole, how far does that get him around here?
Pretty far. I mean, I don't know if he can go all the way to like Archer City. or
That's what I
whatever.
was
It's
wondering,
behind the
because
side.
that, like, that covers.
So our antenna for this building is right up here, and it shoots all the way over to young, you know where that's where Barnett, that's where the antenna is, that this one's at. So That's how far out it goes, as long as you can see it.
For home use, about 7 miles.
Yeah, 7 months. And he's also looking at, there's one other location in Wichita County that he's putting up another antenna. It's just one of those things, he's just wanting to get it to where more people, it's just a business expanding and wanting to be able to service more people.
And how much does it cost him to get a phone?
Pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's roughly like $37,000, $38,000, I think, is what he said.
So whatever, do something else, is that tower gonna be kind of worthless to us?
No, that'd be
It's,
the contract to
it's
where.
already is, he's responsible for taking it down.
Yeah.
Or you want it to become city property, then
Yeah, you can easily put that in there, say it's city property. Most of those guys, usually in their contracts, will say they're gonna abandon it, close down, or take it down, or it'd be one of those things. He sells out to another company, and then you can, once the company sell that, I mean, your contract's null and void, you can charge more money if you want. Tell them it's our property now, however you wanna do it, so it's,
Does it have a lot over there?
no, anything over 190 feet has to have a lot, and that's why he's doing it, just at the 130 feet. So. How tall are those, whatever you wanna call them, transmission poles, those new ones I'll put up over there? I think about 90 feet.
they're about 90 feet, depends on where they're at, some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, about 80, I think.
So there's a cell phone tower right down the road down here past, that new El Chateau, the dog place or whatever. And that's a 190 foot one, it has lights up there, this one wouldn't be as tall as that one.
My only concern on that is, this is, you call it a residential neighborhood, that's part. I don't know if a lot would be a nuisance, but let's just care flat across through here. Just won't let me feel good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something we can easily cross.
Yeah, I don't know the logistics on all that,
Yeah.
something to look into.
For me personally, I was excited about this until I saw the monthly payment, you know. I mean, we charge residents more money to rent this building out here. He's making money on the sucker.
It also gives them services.
Yeah, but as a resident,
That's cost of doing business. I mean, how much money is he gonna make by putting a tower up there with all the residents? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's pennies on a dollar there for him. I mean, the
I
monthly
think
payment.
it's a long, 15 years is a long time, and if you're looking at that 2.5% increase, and you're looking at the payments, by the time the 15 years are up, it's gonna be paying barely what maybe they're paying over there, what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I
It
think,
should be tied to some index, some.
I think we're selling out.
You can see it from lots of ways, you can see it as, okay, maybe they are competitive and the other price is lower or something, and that's beneficial. I mean, you can see it from many ways, but what if they decide to pack their bags and say, forget it, if your term with them is about 10 years, and then you have a 50-year agreement with this one.
If I don't make her see more.
What sold me on it was what Lonnie and John had to say about the computer. Not so much Pinnacle, was how much it's gonna, I don't care to sit here and look at the tower anymore, I'd drive out there. But if it's gonna help the communications on Marshall County, that's what sold me on it.
Scotland.
It'll be the whole northern part of the Marshall County.
So that's the way I look at it, Mayor. I'm not concerned about the 150, but I'm worried about the communication.
In the park run meeting, we had discussed about putting an external antenna up here for what, less than $1,000. That was gonna help them do the same thing, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
That's for a base
that's just a
station.
base station.
This repeater will be to benefit all the radios that are used in the lower part of town, whether you call them Holiday, Archer.
so who's gonna put that equipment on the tower?
Well,
Who's paying for it?
That's a good thing to do. It'd be about $30,000.
We'll work with Shane Ryan on that.
Maybe it's worth just negotiating. I mean, if they're trying to use it as an incentive that they're gonna provide the service to you, maybe just say, we don't want you to provide the service, we want a higher monthly amount, and we'll pay for our own service. mean, at the end of the day, that would still benefit you guys probably more if you're getting more out of it.
Plus, we have the option to shop around and go somewhere else. That's the case too. If something else came in cheaper.
That way you
We're
still
not locked
have
into
on
them
this
either.
side, but.
Yeah, do what now?
So like if we didn't want their free services, but up to the monthly payment, you know,
Yeah.
we're not married to them for 15 years as far as the internet. Like we'll pay the bill to use them, but we're getting $500 a month off of it. But then if Spectrum comes in with this new faster fiber optics, whatever they're doing, we wouldn't go there, then we can do that as well. We're not married to their services for 15 years. We'll pay for our services with them. But then if something better and sooner comes up within 15 years, then we have that option to jump because we're just a customer.
Right.
But we're making $500 a month off of it.
Right, so we can always go back and ask for more money. I think the whole reason the thing started was, one of the big complaints that I see on Facebook and everything else in Lakeside City is internet service. Everybody's always grappling, everybody wants Spectrum, we're on the far end of the line of it, and so this was a way that,
But look at them right now.
that's for just two.
I mean, I just want to be honest, it's too cheap. That's my personal opinion.
Price contract and service,
Yeah.
which, that was how they got their building lawyer and all of that. So as these contracts come up, like the Spectrum, never has been done. So. What height does the fire department need their antenna at?
Porter County.
Or, well,
Right now, the repeater's on Holiday Tower, it's 75 feet in the air, it's
to be used by more than just Lakeside City, because what Eric read was, it was for Lakeside actually leasing, and, just make sure you get your eyes on it.
it'll be Marshall.
Go back and see how much you would pay for them to take the free internet.
I mean, I could just Chris call and say, hey, you're gonna, depending on how council feels, we're gonna get $60 million, 95 cents at the end of 15 years more.
We didn't even do that with Pinnacle, ever since we started with them, it's been $500
I'll
or
go $500.
anything else, this would be, he owns the tower, so now we could probably put the tower up, and then tell him. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I even just think about it in person, council can.
Well, I mean, it's normal for them to lowball you,
Absolutely.
and then you go with a hard offer, and then you just negotiate the rest.
Just leave it, make him be here next February, y'all talk to him
I
then.
think he needs to bring us some options.
Okay.
And just like Corey said, you hate to be married to him for 15 years over internet prices, because think about it, as your household, you shop internet every time something else comes in.
Yeah, I know.
Or you see a new package on TV or whatever, and you're thinking, well, maybe you have to pay that. And I understand Lakeside doesn't have two options, but shopping internet is something that most people do. And so you hate to be married to him for 15 years if you get something cheaper.
Yeah. Internet line, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And the number of providers is just exploding. We have to get fiber here, that will take most of the line site business.
Any other discussion between them?
No.
Just questions. All right, that brings us. Yep, number 8, other council matters. Ms. Williams? Mr. Rutledge? No good.
John, you got anything? Where we at on generators? Couple of things. This is now a good time.
Don Stransky, emergency management coordinator, Lakeside City. A couple of things, and I'll get to your question. First and foremost, in a partnership with the fire department, looking at applying for a grant, through the Ready, Set, Go, Foundation. That's a federal grant, it's $25,000, and it basically covers, wood chipping to, start,
drawn down the amount of consumables that's not only in the rural areas of our lakeside city areas, but also of the city itself. A good example of that would be what you guys were just discussing with that lot. That lot, almost the whole thing could be wood chipped. So it's $25,000, and that's actually, it's kind of a neat program. It's hands-off. We don't have to actually do anything except for designate times and designate areas for drop-off, or when folks can meet, that kind of thing. $25,000 actually covers contractual labor. So we can go out and get a company to come in and do all of the chipping for us. So it's a $25,000 grant.
Just out of curiosity, is that, so say for instance at my house, I got some trees or shrub, whatever, I have to get it to the designated location, they don't come to my house and chip it, right?
Yeah, just throw it in the back of your pickup and bring it to that location, and we'll to go through $25,000. So they would like to see 150 hours worth of work, basically, is what the federal government wants to see. So I would have to go ahead and report that and do all the paperwork. It's pretty extensive. So you can't actually buy any equipment with that except for like hard hats and vests and gloves, just to be used in the process of shipping. But I think it's just a better idea for us just to go ahead and contract it out and have us just.
They don't dump the chippings back,
We can use the chippings if we want.
or they will haul them back.
Yeah, we can give them back to the community, or we can have the contractual chipper haul them off. Yeah. It's just, like I said, it's just a way to reduce the amount of consumables out there. So I would, if the fire department, it'd be kind of a partnership deal. The fire department would kind of cover the rural area in the city, and would have to give me their blessing to apply for it, so that we can use this grant within the city area. And then, again, we can reduce the consumables that's located within the city. I mean, you could chip that whole lot, and the rest of the tree load that's kind of on the perimeter of the park, or if there's piles or anything like that, we can see all chipped. So that's what we're saying. I need permission to do the blessing or some kind of, I don't know if it's, I just need permission from the city to be able to apply for that grant.
Maybe
Yeah, I mean, for us to take action, it has to be a legit item, or, well, there's no money spent yet, right?
No, but the grant closes out February
That'd be
15th
something,
or 16th.
you give them the mayor the approval, and then if it comes back, that's fun.
That's why I can get it. I mean, there's no guarantee I can get it, but I like to try. So I've never
Is
applied
the
for
city
that.
out any money if we go over the $25 grand, like let's just say it's $30,000?
We wouldn't go over the 25 grand. That's my promise. I work with the contractor, and make sure that we don't go over that dollar amount. So that's not.
Council have any problem with moving forward with that?
Next item I've got is the Firewise program that I discussed in the last city council meeting. Firewise is a community-based program. It really, the whole basis of it is to be members from the outside, and you have no interaction with the fire department or with the city or anything like that. And it really gives them ownership in the program. It's events, it's events like this chipping program, it's public awareness. It really will help reduce, hopefully reduce the amount of wildfire damage you've got in the community. So I'd like to start holding on that in February, start putting out the invitations, start seeing if we can get some public interest and get folks in here and have them take ownership of this thing. They really, and there's some more things that have to go along with it. I have to actually do a survey of our entire stuff that I've looked at, but I've already been federally trained to do that. So I have to submit that, and then we have to actually kind of come up with a little bit of a committee and probably meet quarterly or that kind of thing, and then come up with events and that kind of thing. So it's a neat program, and at the end of it, we get to put up a sign on the city sign that says we're part of Firewise community.
Before that starts, we get some of your protocols for COVID, just so I can send that through Judge.
Absolutely. That's all I had. What was your question?
The generators.
Yeah, the generator, so we have to, I talked with Lonnie, actually we talked about that yesterday. We're gonna need city attorney, so we can go ahead and start looking at surplus and commission to start They are saying severe weather season is a little bit more busy than the seasons past. So we could be looking at a little bit more tornadic activity, definitely some more hail.
Once we get
You signed it today, I could have a generator tomorrow. Stand by, so, yeah, we can get it done, so. And surplus.
This is stuff that goes up like deal. I mean, it's,
Fresh my memory on, what was the money situation on those? The price of, it wasn't much.
1,500.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I was.
He's very, he's a Bronze Star Army veteran, so he definitely helps us out for every year.
Actually, buy more than one.
Losing neighborhoods when we start losing power. If we start getting into multiple homes that have medical issues, where they gotta keep machines running or oxygen running or stuff like that, I like to position generators at.
Any other questions from that?
February 16th is our ISO audit. And Mr. Storm, thank you for the cameras. He gave us a 16 camera system, 24 camera system. I mean, it recorded everything. He donated to the fire department. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Sonny, you got anything else?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have anything, yes, sir.
Allison? The only thing I have is,
I've got one thing. Allison's wedding is this Saturday, and so next time I'll see her, she'll be this, how do you say the last name? Bennett. So she-
I got a
Rent
building,
the room out.
I got a building to rent out. No alcohol. No alcohol.
Well, we
She's
already
out.
got her in for that.
The only thing I have is, look at maybe rescheduling March meeting. That is, our meeting falls in the middle of spring break for holiday. So just didn't know y'all's thoughts. If y'all want to reschedule that, if y'all have things planned, but it should be the 16th of March.
Last year, we just postponed it when we moved to the 23rd. Y'all wanna do that?
I think we're. So we'll move March's, council meeting to the 23rd. Alright, that's all I got. I didn't entertain a motion